Hello, good morning. Tēnā tātou katoa, nau mai, haere mai. Welcome to the third and final day of the Financial Services Council 2020 Conference Generations. I'm Yvonne Davey, Manager, Super and Savings at Craig's Investment Partners, and I've got the tough job of following the wonderful MCs of Day 1 and 2, Vanya Thomas and Kirsten Young, who've done an incredible job of hosting the conference so far. I'm delighted to be your MC on the final day of this stellar event and look forward to being with you throughout today's exciting lineup on the main plenary. Yesterday was another corker of a day. I enjoyed hearing from Minister Whāwhoi, who was followed by Andrew Bailey, National Party spokesperson of Commerce, who demonstrated again his continued engagement with our community. Rob Everett, CEO from FMA, was quietly pleased and thanked the industry for a shift in gear this year, which was actually, by his own admission, a turnaround from his whinge at our conference last year. Susie Wiles gave an eye-opening look at the pandemic and reiterated her sage advice around the basic steps required to keep us all COVID-19 free and at bay. And just a reminder that if you would like to support our charity partner, Voices of Hope, you can donate by their Give a Little page. We've got links available on the session and conference webpage. This morning, our breakout sessions covered a wide range of topics, from income protection and innovative ideas in helping people get back to work, to leadership and the development of our teams, to the role fintechs are playing in shaping the wealth of the next generation of investors. If you missed any of them, I'd highly recommend watching on catch up. Forget Netflix, we have you covered for all your binge watching needs. Now, on to today. Our focus continues to delve into the generations' themes of sustainability, guardianship and wellbeing. And in our industry, we all share not only a duty and responsibility to our customers to help them have better, more secure financial futures, but also a responsibility to look out for our colleagues, our friends and our whānau's wellbeing. This year has definitely been a challenging one that has tested our resilience and our resolve. But I'm sure you will agree that as an industry and a country, we can be very proud of how we have supported our teams and our customers and what we have achieved so far. Sustainability is not just a buzzword, but one that is about creating meaningful future for generations to come. Having heard from representatives from the Labour Party and the National Party over the last 2 days, we will be welcoming James Shaw, co-leader of the Green Party, to talk sustainability, green policies and his party's outlook for New Zealand. Emma Mello, part of the next generation of political leaders, tells her story of becoming the Auckland Central candidate for National, and the inspiring Jace Tapatu talks all things kaitiakitanga, guardianship and wellbeing, and how we can support our tamariki by using some mindfulness strategies. And of course, we must mention the political pundits panel, filled with leading journalists who do not shy away from their opinions. So it's going to be one exciting discussion just 2 days out from the election. And if you haven't had a chance to look around the platform, I really encourage you to do so. All the content on the portal will remain live for the coming few weeks. This includes all-demand videos, sponsor information, and downloadable content, and speaker details. Over the conference so far, we have had fantastic engagement with those watching in digital land, with some brilliant questions being sent through the Q&A. Thank you for getting involved and posting your questions on the key issues to leaders and decision makers in the sector. The sessions is really so much richer with your contributions to the conversations. Please continue to interact through the Q&A function. it's great to hear from you. Now, I do understand if you have had any problems with the Q&A, just refresh your screen and you should be away. If you need any assistance whatsoever, though, during the conference, of course, please email events@fsc.org.nz. Now, finally, to ensure that you take regular breaks from the screen, take a short walk, stretch your legs, and come back with your beverage of choice and settle in for a gripping few hours of discussion. And with that, it's time to welcome our first guest, one who most of you will know really well, who is responsible for this fabulous event and has shown incredible leadership throughout the year. Richard Clippin, CEO of the Financial Services Council, is here to launch the next tranche of FSC research. 2020 has been a year of insightful and engaging research from the FSC, focusing on the relationship between New Zealanders, their money and their well-being. I think I speak on behalf of the industry when I say that insight like this is hugely valuable to all of us, and I am really looking forward to getting my teeth into the next report. Over to you, Richard.
Kia ora, Morena. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 3. Thank you, Yvonne, for those fantastic words of introduction. Folks, Financial Resilience Index, in fact, all year the FSC has been in field, tapping into the pulse of how New Zealanders think and feel about money. In March this year, we went out to 2,000 New Zealanders and we wanted to understand many things about their relationship with money, what they spent it on, how much they had, how much they saved, what they did with it, how they felt about advice, how they felt about insurance, and so on. And so today, delighted to launch Financial Resilience number 3. This actually stemmed from Financial Resilience 1, which was actually the source of the research, which we did just before we went into lockdown. We sat around with the FSC Research Committee and wondered to ourselves, we almost had ground zero data in March. We should be looking to go through the whole year and tap into 5 key areas and track how New Zealanders have changed and responded as we've gone through the COVID crisis. And so we went back in May and we went back in August. This is the August data, but what you'll see is a contrast and comparison with both March and May. There are 5 key measures in the Resilience Index: financial confidence, financial literacy, financial preparedness, job security, and overall well-being. And in FRI 3, as I call it, in FRI 3, there are some really interesting and positive indicators, but not to be misunderstood that there are also some fairly serious headwinds that are coming. So let's talk briefly about the first one, which is financial confidence. Really good story here. So over the series of research periods that we did, 72% of Kiwis are very reasonably or extremely confident about their finances. And what's been interesting, it's actually been a theme of the whole conference, is that in lockdown, people's spending habits fundamentally changed. Their savings habits fundamentally changed, in part because people couldn't go and spend on those things. We couldn't run off to Sydney or Fiji for that little weekend away. And we couldn't even duck out to the takeaways to get that occasional night out. And so that's translated into overall confidence. Anecdotal conversation last night at an event I went to was that people have started to pay down debt much more quickly as well, talking to people in car loans, businesses and so on. So interesting to see how that's changed and how it's ultimately translated to a greater sense of confidence, which at the start of the pandemic, we would have thought counterintuitively that probably wasn't likely to happen. Look, literacy is the next conversation. Literacy is one of those discussions that we've had now for a while, and in conjunction with the FMA, conjunction with the Commission for Financial Capability, we know that this is one of the game changers, and we know the data is not good. This is one of the areas that we absolutely have to work closely with. The next stat is around financial preparedness, and lots of work to be done here. Again, interestingly, people's savings habits changed, and more of us were saving a little bit more money as we went through lockdown, saving for that rainy day. But what we found in Money and You, which was the broader piece of research that we've done, which we've launched this year, is that if people had no income for more than 3 months, they would struggle. And I think that underlying some of this data are some real stories and some real themes and some real trends that we're going to have to look into. Of course, one of the big stats in all of this is around confidence in jobs, and obviously job security underpins almost all of the other data, and 80% of people are confident about their jobs. That's held up really, really strongly all the way through this conversation, and I think it speaks to decisions made at a political level, decisions made at business levels to retain staff as much as possible, obviously in the sectors that we're able to do that, and we know that there are parts of the New Zealand sector that have been seriously, seriously hit, and others that have weathered the storm in better stead. Money, of course, is only one part of this conversation. I think the thing that underpins all of this is how do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel about our future? How do we feel about our mindset as we deal to the impacts that not having money or having money allows us? And I suppose this is where the headwinds come in, the money worries, the well-being quotient, if you will. And what we found is that 60%, over 60% of New Zealanders will worry about money daily, weekly or monthly. We spoke yesterday or a couple of days ago on the panel about mental health and well-being and triggers for ill health and ill mental health. Money worries, confidence in your future, feeling good about yourself, being able to provide for your family and so on are some of the key issues that underpin all of that. And 60% is a pretty huge number. The other key stat here is that over 54% of people have been adversely impacted by COVID and by money worries. And I think if we think about some of the headwinds and some of the data that sits behind this information, there's a great opportunity for all of us in the sector. We are in the sector that helps people think about getting good advice and getting good guidance, making good decisions, thinking more actively about money. And again, over the period of the conference, we've spoken about the FSC Generation and the way in which to better engage with New Zealanders about money and make it much more relevant and much more personal. The other thing that we found, not in the Fry research, but certainly in the Money and You piece, is that the game change around confidence and making good decisions is good quality financial advice. Having a good guide, having someone who's your sounding board, having someone who can keep you not only on the right track, but prevent you from going on the wrong track are huge, and we put some numbers around that. And so again, the data through COVID, which has arguably been the biggest test for our generation or in a generation about people's resilience and people's ability to make good long-term decisions, has been around how people make good and sound decisions and avoid making bad decisions. And again, I think there's an opportunity here in the sector to actually lead a conversation about how we start to change how New Zealanders think about money, their relationship with money, but mostly because it's not about money, it's about how you want to live your life. And that's a conversation for all of us. So where do we head to from here? We head in the following areas. 2020 in many ways for the FSC has been a landmark year in capturing so much good and rich data. We've also had within the FSC a really rich data project going, and that data is going to give us real-time data on how we're tracking on life insurance, KiwiSaver investments and so on. By marrying consumer data with industry data, I think we're going to be in a really strong position to lead the sector and to lead the conversation in New Zealand about how to be good with money and what that actually does for us. And so that's an investment for 2021 and beyond. Fantastic work from the FSC Research Committee, so a huge thank you. From our Media and Government Committee, so a huge thank you. And from our Consumer Working Groups, which is now our newest committee, and that's going to help us lead the conversation into 2021. So look, I commend this research to you, not only the Fry research, but also Money and You. Money and You 3 will launch just before the end of the year. Together and collectively, take time and take stock to investigate, figure out how it can help you. We've had some fantastic stories of people using their marketing in the marketplace, by advisors. That's what it's there for. That's what it's designed for. It's an investment for all of us in the sector as we head beyond 20 and into 2021. It is up online now, so you can see the full research, the full data set. So again, commend you to that. And again, thanks for everyone for their contribution in making this successful. And on that note, I will pass you back to Yvonne. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. It really is pleasing to see, I guess, an increase in the level of confidence that New Zealanders have with their money. So thank you and congratulations to Richard and the FSC Strategic Research Committee for such a successful year and for bringing those important insights to us.